Right.
Yeah.
Hi, this is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio, TV, and podcast #1 Internet Singles Talk Network. And this is Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Christine. We're back again.
Yes, back again every Thursday. I just love it. I look forward to it every week, our
Me too.
chats. So
Yes.
today we're going to talk about, do you feel invisible in
Mm-hmm.
your relationships? And I was thinking, gosh, that's so broad because, yes, we talk about romantic love relationships. And isn't it sad when you could feel invisible with your friends or your family or your colleagues? So I think a lot of what we're going to talk about today, you could use in all sorts of areas of your life.
Of course. And the other thing, of course, though, is those people who generally are more introvert will be kind of happy to be invisible, to be honest.
Yes, yes,
I mean,
really good point. Because they would just as soon not have me chat with them next when we're standing next to each other at the grocery line. And I try to be really sensitive to that.
yeah,
And even for introverts, they really thrive on close one-on-one or just a couple
right.
people relationships.
Yeah.
So what if they're feeling like the people aren't seeing them? And the other thing I was thinking was all the different layers of invisible. Do they like see you physically, but they don't see you emotionally, or they don't honor you mentally, or do you feel like you're constantly misunderstood? That's not feeling like you're being seen and that
Oh, yeah.
they're part of you is invisible to these people. So I kept thinking about this when we had this subject. I was like, gosh, there's so many fun directions we can go. And I think it'll be more rich than people could imagine because whatever area you say, I want to concentrate on my romantic one, or I want to concentrate on with my kids or my colleagues, it'll translate everywhere once you learn
Right.
some techniques. And
Yeah.
so I'm going to talk about the girl's point of view. And we take so many things personally that it might not be the truth. It might be the truth, but how can you do something about it if you don't first go, is it really the truth? You
Right.
know, are they really just busy? So it's funny. I hear from women a lot about why doesn't he text more? Why doesn't he call more? Which can
Right.
certainly make you feel invisible. And invisible feels so uncared about. You feel less important. And
Mm-hmm.
so I say, well, have you told him? Have you told him how much you'd really like the quantity, how much it would make you feel good, and what your quantity is? Well, no. Well, he might not be able to do it, but at least tell him, because I'm a good morning text person. I'm a good evening text person. I'm even the how you doing in the middle of the day person. It's just me. Some people go, ooh, I would hate all that. And there's been men in my life who said, I can't do that much. I could certainly do the morning. I could probably do the night. I'm not sure I could do any in the day. So
Right.
then when they've told me that, and I've said, okay, if they send me something in the middle of the day, I go, oh, then it feels I don't get mad when they don't, but I get
Right.
really happy when they do. So
That's a
it's how you
bonus.
frame it in your mind, right? And I know you're not surprised to hear that women get upset about that as a man.
No. Well, I was thinking of a meme that I saw ages ago. I posted it a few times myself about the couple sitting on the couch and they're both like facing away from each other, sort of thing. And she's sulking, and there's little thought bubbles above their heads. And she's like, "I wish you'd tell me what I did wrong. I'm so upset. He's not talking to me. He's been very silent. He's got that pensive look in his face. I'm like, I wish you'd communicate with me. He's like, I just don't know what to do right. I feel like so messed up, so confused about our relationship." And his speech bubble is like, "Is it the fan belt? What's wrong with my car? I can't figure it out." That sort of thing. And it's that missing the conversation. So what you're saying is so true that we don't verify it. So in those communication calamities, for want of a better word, it's a lot of times we make up a whole raft of assumptions about what the other person was thinking, saying, not doing, not thinking, or what we did wrong and all the things we didn't do as well. Or there are those people, of course, who are so ego driven. They're like, I don't care what other people think, but they still don't communicate. So understanding that communication definitely is a two-way street.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it requires, I won't say verification, but it does require verifying the fact that you did in fact hear what you thought you heard, or didn't know what you heard, or just to find out, it's like, did you think what I think you were thinking? You know?
I know. The amount of miscommunication and misunderstanding often way outweighs the times that you really did smoothly hear each other. Oh, really?
Yep.
That's really what you said? I got it right? Wow. But most of the time, I've certainly lived it before I knew better and knew to keep checking in. Be like, oh, wow. Did you ever, on Saturday Night Live, Gilda Radner, they'd say something and she'd on purpose mishear it, and she'd go off on this whole tirade of something that wasn't even said, and they go, no, Gilda, it was this, and she'd go, never mind.
Yeah, that I remember that
in my
joke,
life. I use that example in my life all the time because people can go on for years over a misunderstanding. So if the feeling is, I'm not getting enough communication, attention, physical touch, if you're feeling invisible because you're not being acknowledged in the one of the highest 5 language that is the most important to you, and we talk about those 5 love languages a lot, and if you don't know about it, go to 5 love languages, take the quiz. It'll take you 10 whole minutes, and it'll let you know what's your priority to feeling cared about. Is it somebody saying words to you? Is it somebody doing something for you? Is it somebody buying you presents? Is it somebody spending time with you? Or is it
physical touch?
Physical touch, which is my second one.
One of my primaries as well.
Yeah, my first is words of appreciation. So you go, oh, well, this is the thing I need the most. And often we are attracted to the person who that's not as high of a priority to them.
Yeah.
And if you care about each other, you want to please the other person. So you'll make it more of a conscious effort, because we think, because I like words of appreciation, you just stand next to me in the grocery line and I'm going to say something about your outfit or what you bought. I mean, really, it's just who I am because I like getting it. Where the person who would rather a gift is going to go, why in the hell is she talking to me? I don't understand. You know, they feel cared about when somebody buys them something and it's thoughtful and it's wrapped and they like wrote in a card and all of that. So if you first take ownership of, well, what would make me feel more cared about? What would make me feel more noticed? What would make me feel like I'm being more important to this person? You have to start with you.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I mean, the love language is such a key piece. But at the same time, a large part of that is we don't even think to ask questions. And so what tends to happen for a lot of people, especially when they start to feel invisible, is they don't think, what can I do differently? They start to think already that I'm already doomed. I'm already screwed up. I'm dead. That's it. It's over.
Yeah.
And we basically have this tendency to fall down the rabbit hole of resentment, of judgment, of blame, of feeling that something's wrong. Like you're saying, these pet peeves that lasted 25 years, and you realize that was all it was at the first time. So what a waste of time that was. So the first guidance to give everybody is, when you're not sure, ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they say it's better to ask a dumb question than make dumb assumptions.
Yes.
And the realization that when we don't understand doesn't mean something wrong with us, that we should know better and we should understand. It's more like, you don't understand, we want to say, you know what, just so I'm clear, can we just repeat that piece? I want to make sure I got it right. Yeah. It's frankly, when someone says it to me, I really feel like they're invested in the conversation. So I feel valued by that. So definitely by being asked to clarify, I go, thank you. I appreciate you wanted to check out and make sure that what I said landed and you got what I was meaning. Yeah. Because communication is such an underused tool, it seems lately, especially with the fact we have text messaging has become a prevalent form of communication versus phone calls. I was on a live stream on Tuesday talking about that, about how we don't take the time to actually pick up the phone and call somebody. You know, and so there's these things about how technology doesn't serve us this way. But like for me, one of the examples I'm going on lately is when I want to talk to somebody, oftentimes I jump on Zoom rather than needing a phone call, which is even better. But that's the thing, is that invisibility, that feeling of being not seen. For some people, is a safety mechanism too. Mm-hmm. You know, so that thing with people said earlier about that sort of feeling excluded, there are people actually feel that they're self-image doesn't deserve to be noticed as much.
Yes.
So a lot of times working with my clients, I've had this happen before, where they're in a relationship, they almost felt safer being avoidant than being invested.
Yes.
And so that invisibility was a cloak that they wore out of a sense of safety, not out of pride, but out of safety. So recognizing that for many people in these situations, invisibility is actually part of their toolkit, not necessarily something they want to do, but they do it out of defense. You know?
So there's another introspective conversation to have with yourself or with somebody that could help ask you the right questions. And I wanted to go back to the asking questions part, because frequently people don't start out with, gosh, I'm really curious. You know, you used to do this and you don't. You know, is there something that's changed? Or, gosh, I'd really like this. Is that something you could do?
Mm-hmm.
We start out with a complaint.
Yes.
You never do this anymore. You always do this wrong thing.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't like to have somebody talk to me that way. That would make me be even more resistant to doing something nice for them. So to step back from your upsetness, and often we're upset because we've let it go on. We keep thinking they're just going to figure it out. I used to think if I screamed it loud enough in my head, my first husband would hear it. It never worked. And I tried it over and over and over. It was part of being in my 20s and a very young 20s, that I've now learned, wow, that was kind of not good for me. Let me ask more about it. Let me give you the benefit of the doubt that you don't know that this has upset me, or that I'd like something different. Let me ask. So I really caution people, mostly women, men do this too, I haven't heard it quite as much, of starting out with a complaint. Start out with an I'm curious question first. Because if they're pulling back for some reason, or they're overwhelmed and they just forgot, or they don't have time to do it, or it's just not on, it's not the highest of their 5 love languages, telling them that they screwed up is going to make them back up even more and make you feel even less seen and heard and important. Because now you think you've said it, they should fix it, and now they're going to be even more resistant. Well, isn't that just a terrible direction to go?
The thing about that, and it's funny because when you take the permutation out at the end of relationships, when people say, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
We do that at the end of a relationship, but in the middle of the relationship, we don't take responsibility as much.
I know.
Interesting point there. It's like, we choose to take responsibility after it's dead. That wasn't good. So to be in the point where we say, you know what, something's not working. I'm not sure what it is. I'm feeling a bit off. Can we talk? That way, there's nobody's being blamed or anything for that point of view. And it is a definite opportunity to deepen a relationship. Again, this is not just romantic relationships. It could be with family members, it could be with employees, employers, social friends too. We have a bad habit as human beings of putting people into boxes we think they fit.
Yeah.
That assumptive thing we do. And when we start to take people out of those boxes and go, oh, you don't fit in a box, you're something unique, then there's an opportunity to get to know that person at a deeper level. And in a relationship, especially a romantic one, is powerful when we actually look at the person fresh, like every day, an opportunity to do that. And so, and it's interesting, like you said earlier, about the fact you want the communications through the day. I know couples in relationship, and I did it myself a couple times, where you wouldn't talk for 2 or 3 days at a time. Again, different barrier of love language.
Yeah.
And so understanding that communication can be the most intimate thing we can do in a relationship, even more so than sex sometimes. It can make communication more valuable and more, I won't say exciting necessarily the word, but certainly more connecting you to the other person. That intimacy that you get from that is such a potent thing. So why would you want to avoid the communication?
I know. And speaking from the woman's point of view, the more we feel connected, that you ask us questions, that you listen to, that you share whatever you're comfortable with, that draws us emotionally and physically closer and makes us more available for this physical part. I mean, it's just often how women work. That the more we feel you see us and you let us see you, the less invisible we both are to each other, the more drawn we can be to you and want to be close to you physically.
That's a
Yeah.
secret, by the way. Let's make sure we hear that. Write that one down.
So we're only sharing this for people that will use it for good because it's a superpower.
Indeed, it is.
So the other thing I want to address as a single woman, a lot of times the way we feel invisible is if we go to a singles event.
Oh,
And
yeah.
sometimes we have it made up in our head, and sometimes we're looking, and if we're looking, we're going to find the evidence that
Of course.
there's, typically there can be like 20 women and 5 men. Well, I know I'm going to be one of those women. I know all the men here are looking for women that are younger than me, that have different color hair than me, have skinnier bodies than me, are smarter than me. The few times I didn't feel that way very often in my single time, but the few times I did, I stayed home. Because I'd had a bad day or a bad week, and I'm like, I'm not getting out of this, and there's no way I'm going to go out there feeling this vulnerable. I'm going to stay home and take a bath. I'm going to stay home and do my nails. I'm going to watch a rom-com. Don't go with that attitude.
Right.
I'm just telling you, you're not going to get cheered up going. You're only going to feel worse.
No, and sorry to you.
So the thing that I would do as preparation is I check in with myself. I'm going out with my girlfriends. We're going to go country line dancing or whatever. Okay, I'm going to think some positive thoughts. I'm going to put on something cute. I'm going to, try a new perfume, and I'm going to dance. So I am either going to get asked, and if I don't get asked, I'm going to go ask, because the thing that I've learned, and I love telling, and I'm going to listen for your answer, is when men make that walk across the floor and ask us to dance, and we have to check in with our 3 girlfriends, and if they say no, then we're going to say no, and you have to walk all the way back. It's this minuscule, I will say it's a minuscule percentage of men that will say no. If you go ask a man to dance, he's going to say yes. He's like surprised and flattered and thinks, oh God, I didn't have to do that walk all the way across the floor. They will say yes. So I always danced whenever I wanted to, because I was willing to go. I got asked a lot, and I was willing to go ask. And if I didn't know, I go, do you know this? Because the country dancing, I didn't know. I said, would you teach me? And they're like, oh yeah, because they like being able to teach and know stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you just stand in the corner, first you're going to have a sour face. Men like it when you're smiling.
Absolutely.
Which is one of the reasons, go dance, because I can't dance and not smile. It's an impossibility. Music just feeds my soul. So even if I don't want to have another dance with this guy, but it was fun to get out, I know there are other men watching going, well, she looks fun. I'm going to go ask her to dance.
Right.
It's amazing how doesn't that work from your side of the screen there, Mr. Man?
Well, I mean, to be transparent, also, my last relationship before the work I've been doing for the last 15, 16 years. No, 17 years. Damn, can I keep track of this? She actually asked me out. She did all the leading moves. The thing is that was a whole different story. It wasn't just like asking for a dance, because asking for a dance is totally fine. Absolutely. Because, we are the ones that wear the battered armor from being rejected so much, because most of the men, most of us men are the ones doing the work, so to speak, to reach out, to invite, to ask, getting turned down. So to do it again, it's like, oh man, do I have to do that?
Yeah.
So for me, there's such a possibility of being able to take the night off, so to speak, to be receptive. So a woman comes up to me, especially if I'm interested. That's a gift. That's a bonus. So definitely, that's a wonderful opportunity. There was something else that you said that I wanted to catch on to was shoot. Went in my head. Okay, no, we'll come back. Oh, so it's back to finish off the story, because I was talking about my last one. I went out where she asked me out. Basically, though, I made a choice unconsciously to let her lead everything, and that was a mistake. So in the dance experience you're talking about, it definitely is a different scenario, because the invitation to go dancing is great, but you don't lead the dance; he does, and that's the thing, is that he immediately transitions into that leadership role. So it's okay for a man to be asked out to do the dance floor, but being asked out on a date is a different story. So you got to watch the line on that one, because the thing is, we men can be pretty lazy. And I'm not like other men in terms of what happened. I know what I did wasn't the healthiest thing to do. That's why I do the work I do all the time now. But you understand that we have this continual opportunity to improve and go deep and have connection. So being asked to connect as much as we ask to connect, it's a two-way street, and that way nobody's invisible.
Because you can feel invisible too, and I think that'll be a fun thing to address when we come back from our break, right? Yeah, because it's so different for men, I think.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, we're going to have some commercials, and we'll be right back.
See you in a minute. And we're back.
And we're back talking about, do you feel invisible in your romantic life, in your dating life, in your personal life, in your professional life? We're giving you all sorts of tips on how to do some work on your side of it, and how to maybe bring out other people into your life so you won't feel so invisible.
Right.
And so talk about it from a man's point of view, because I think it's very different.
Absolutely. Before I do that for a second, I just want, for the audience members, I heard apparently there's construction going on next door, which is being very noisy, and so I have to close the windows to keep the noise down. But unfortunately, they won't stop for me. So if you're hearing bang in the background, that's on my end, and we'll continue without it, just to let you know, so that people don't go, "What's that noise? I can't tell what it is."
Well, you feel like it feels like you're in the woods and it's a woodpecker. That's what it really is. No, that's what it would
be. Reframe. That's great. Yeah, it's a reframe. That's good. I like that. So from a man's perspective, to be honest, and well, being honest, period, even amongst men, I don't feel like I'm the most visible man or the most noticeable man amongst the group. So I definitely have that sense of being sometimes the quote wallflower type thing. Not as much now as I used to be. Definitely was something I spent a lot of years being that way. So being invisible, and also, being bullied in high school, that sort of thing too, I found myself being invisible outside certain groups. And that was something I basically lived with. But what I found as being such a gift was the inner work I've done over the years really give me a sense of self that isn't based upon my relationships. That, by the way, is a big thing for people. Is oftentimes we are basing our existence on who loves us, who cares for us, who we're in relationship with. And I would suggest to anybody watching this, especially if you're single, this is a good time to start really looking in the mirror and really doing that work there. Because for me, that's been the biggest gift, is that my visibility or invisibility doesn't affect how I feel about myself. And that's been a wonderful gift. And it also means that when I do get seen, noticed, invited, whatever that is, it's like a bonus. It's like gravy, so to speak. And so there's a benefit in that. But the thing is, for us men, when like that's the dance floor thing you talked about earlier about the man crossing the floor to go ask for a dance, it's like going across a restaurant or to a bar and seeing this beautiful woman with her friends and go up talking to her. For me, that was never the easy thing to do. Because first of all, she's playing, in her troupe of women. So to go up to one woman in a group was not something else. I know the men are really skilled at this, just to be transparent. I'm not saying all men are like this. I didn't have that gift to walk up to one woman out of a group, say, excuse me, can I borrow her or can I talk to her, sort of thing. If I already knew her, that was easy, but that first movement, and sometimes you got to the point, because the other part of that is, again, it's a way to get back at the beginning about making assumptions about what people are thinking, is I got to a woman, talk to her. Her disdain might be fear. I didn't know this at the time. So knowing that when I went up to a woman, say hi, and she shut down or she pulled away, wasn't about me, although I didn't say I took it that way. I did take it personally sometimes. But the layers of this to understand is that we can't know what somebody else is thinking unless we're really doing a lot of telepathy work with somebody, which is not common.
No.
Just kidding. But that sense about, we make assumptions. And so that invisibility that we think is going on might purely be missed communication. We didn't understand the person was not willing to connect. And so we might feel invisible, even as men, but she may just feel like she's not feeling comfortable. But we don't find out.
No. And how interesting I've had these conversations where I was like, gosh, I'm really not, I'm feeling kind of nervous. And they're like, me too. And then it's like this bonding thing, which is really
yeah, we both feel the same way. That's a gift.
I know. And just talking about it first helps me. And then when the other person goes, oh, yeah, and you go, oh, well, that's nice. You have like a kindred soul.
Right.
So I wanted to suggest another way for women to get noticed. So ask a man his opinion or for help. So if the bar's stacked up with people and you see a guy and you go, oh, could you catch the bartender's attention for me? Of course he's going to do it. Of course he gets to be the man and jump in, and it's wonderful. And the other thing is, I was thinking about ways that I think men can feel invisible that wouldn't be quite as obvious, is when we women keep interrupting you. We'll ask you a question and then we keep, especially if you say, that's a really good thought. And then you pause and then we jump in instead of letting you finish your thought so that you can now say it. And the other thing we do, and I'm calling this out because I have to remind myself even today, when you say something that's been a negative experience, it has been hard. I've met women and then we are going to jump in before you finished your sentence and explain that we're not like that and we would never do that. Well, you didn't say it was us. So could we not be so defensive? I certainly have felt that way. And I watch it all the time on the posts on Facebook and I go, he didn't say you. If he says you get to say something, but he didn't say you. So you just go, wow, that must have been rough. What'd you do about it? Let him talk some more. Because women are constantly saying, men never talk enough. They never communicate enough. Well, I'm telling you, hon, this is one of the two big reasons we interrupt you and we defend ourselves when there's no reason to defend. And I think that would make a man feel maybe not completely invisible, but certainly not your full 3D self. It would make you feel diminished, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing is, and just to underscore what you said, when a woman asks us a question, because we talked this in other shows about how men and women think differently. We know this very well. And if you haven't watched those shows, go back and watch the archives. We did talk about this. Is that when we are in conversation and you ask us questions, we don't have the same resource access points that you do in your brain to go find things. So we've got to take time to figure out what it was you were asking to what the answer is. Yeah. So, and oftentimes our answer is just a singular answer to that single question versus the 17 other things that would be included, which a woman would answer with. So yes, definitely different communication styles. And yes, if we don't finish what we're thinking, if you're asking us a question, we can feel like upset, disconnected, invisible, diminished, all those things, because we're not feeling we're being heard. You know, for some men, they can tough it out. And that's the other part, by the way, and that piece of the conversation is, you know, it's well known that we are less emotionally expressive than women are. It's just the way that we make up. It also means, though, that we will oftentimes slough it off like, oh, it's not about me, I won't worry about it, sort of thing, rather than actually going, no, it isn't about me, it is about her, but let me find out what it is. We don't think to act differently in the conversation because we're in a place where we're defending ourselves the same way. You know, women defend themselves one way, we defend ourselves differently. So there's a whole bunch to put in the conversation.
Oh, I think it's so important because women don't know this. They don't know. And it's funny because, you know, one of our people that we both love, Allison Armstrong, talks about, and I have been so guilty of this more in the past, thank goodness, that I'd ask a man a question and then he's thinking about it. And because I didn't know better, I decided, oh, he didn't understand my question, so I need to ask it again and I'm going to rephrase it. And what I learned was you were looking for the answer. You want to really look at the answer and give me the right answer. And then I start talking again. You're like, what? Oh, is this question more important? Should I stop thinking about that one? So now this is causing a lot of thoughts. Should I start thinking about this one? Okay, now I'm going to think about this one. I hear the point. I'm going to go look for the point. And now I'm going to interrupt you a third time.
And that point's stuck over there somewhere. It hasn't come. We haven't brought it forward yet.
So what Allison's suggestion is to put on invisible duct tape after you've asked the question once and wait, which is the first few times I did it, I had to sit on my hands.
It's not natural. Or I should
say, women talk over each other and interrupt each other constantly, like I just did you.
That's the thing, is that women hopefully get this, and men too, is the way women communicate with each other doesn't work with the opposite sex, and with men, the way we talk to each other, it doesn't work with the opposite sex either. So we need, as conscious humans, to learn to translate across that boundary between masculine and feminine, so to speak, because we do think differently. So that, and the thing of that invisibility piece we've been talking about as the theme of the conversation, it shows up in insidious ways, because we can take one slight or one miscommunication as one thing, saying they're ignoring us, I must be invisible.
Yeah.
And that, for some people, that's a default wiring. So it's, not fun.
No. And then you're going to have a little resentment the next time they say something, and the next time they interrupt you, and the next time they don't listen or they mishear, and it just keeps stacking up, where if you first didn't do it, and if you do it, because there's times I just do it still, even to this day, and how much I know better. I do tease that. I go, well, you know, this is what I teach, but it's different when I'm doing it.
Hey, we learn we teach what we best need to learn. Something like that's a quote from somewhere.
I teach it a lot, so I'll keep reminding myself.
Yeah, we're students of our own work.
Oh yeah, I walk my talk a lot. That I know that I need to go, oh, I am so sorry. I realize I interrupted you. I got too excited, or I got really impatient. I call myself out because what little damage I did when you thought, well, she doesn't really care about my answer. She's interrupted me. I'll just sit and listen again.
Right.
Even though she keeps complaining that I don't talk enough, because that's part of why she keeps interrupting me, is to tell me I don't talk enough. But if I tell you, oh God, I screwed up, I'm really sorry, you know, and I even know better. I mean, really, I know better. You're going to go, oh, okay. All right, let's see. Is she going to shut up this time?
I don't always think it that way, but we will say, she's giving me a second chance.
You're so gracious.
Well, again, I'm not like most other men, to be honest. Sorry, just be transparent.
Well, and aren't we most hard on ourselves too? I think, oh God, that was such a terrible, because I know how it affects you lovely men, and I don't want to do that. And I do it. I know I'm going to do it. So I just am going to apologize for doing it and say, oops, screwed up. Okay, let me go get the real duct tape this time, because that'll help remind me.
Oh.
I'll just hold it. I won't stick it on my mouth. But
thank God for that.
I sometimes have to, when I'm tired or hungry and I can just not be at my best. I do all these things that I teach. Yes. But what's really helped is after so many years of practice, I notice it. I go, because I don't feel good when I do it.
Right.
The thing is, we think it's going to make us feel better, us women, and it really doesn't. And if we pay attention, we're like, oh, that made me feel icky. So I'm going to say, wow, that made me feel icky too. I'm really sorry I did that. That made you feel icky too. So then it's like we clear the air for both of us because I'm not going to feel great because I'm going to walk away feeling icky and you're going to walk away feeling icky. So let's clean up the icky part, right? Let's do the dusting or throw the garbage out or whatever the heck it is.
I'm trying to think of a better analogy of that, but that still works.
So I think that this is such an important point to say we men and women can feel invisible in so many different ways.
Yeah.
It still feels the same. The invisibility feels unimportant and uncared about and unnoticed, and it takes away your energy and it depletes your self-confidence. So if you go, oh, what causes me to start feeling invisible and what can I personally do something about it? And what can I enlist my family and friends? I'm just needing some attention today. I need to build my self-confidence up again, or, remind me why I'm such a cool person because I was having a little bit of a bad day. Oh, my sister-in-law and I do that for each other. She's my person and I'm her person. Because we can't keep ourselves completely upright all the time. So if you have a go-to person that can, and my clients go, oh my God, they always say, I feel so much better after our call, which makes me feel good. I'm sure yours do too.
Yeah.
If you're feeling that invisibility feeling, then reach out to somebody that is going to just like get you started, like you're going down the rabbit hole and you just need somebody to get you turned back around and going the other way.
Like a reality check.
Yes, because going out into the world feeling that way can often just make it worse. So to get yourself going back again with your self-confidence and your good foundation underneath you, then you won't feel. And if, there are a couple places I go shopping where they just walk by, and it's not just me,
right,
as if you aren't even there, the worker people. Because I actually worked at Nordstrom for a year, and you stop you got air brakes of customers going by. And so I'm really extra sensitive to it. And I think, they don't know any better. They're really busy. This is a big store and they have lots to do. And I just stop. And so I think I could feel really invisible and I could feel dismissed and I could think they're just being jerks. So I change my thought about that and go, that is nothing to do with it. I watch them do it to the next 4 people in line. It's not me.
It's true. I mean, I go to retail stores and they definitely have the feeling of being ignored, invisible. Well, excuse me, ignored and invisible are not the same thing. That's the thing. I've been ignored because these people are so distracted by their own stuff or so preoccupied, or they're waiting to go to the lunch break, whatever it is. As you said, nothing to do with me. That's their stuff. But the thing is, this is the challenge that we all face, is we have this tendency sometimes to weaponize what other people do as a personal attack on ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's so insane that we do this because it's not healthy and it's not functional. It's not helpful.
And it's not the truth.
No, exactly. It's not the truth. So this whole transformational piece we're talking about really in a lot of ways is, can we stand fully in ourselves? Oh, this is an idea. And see ourselves visibly.
Oh, I like that. Oh, that should be a t-shirt.
Yep, feel it's come on, one coming on.
The more you see yourself and approve of yourself and find yourself valuable and really see who you are, I think that could go a long way to being able to withstand the normal crap that goes on in the world that truly has nothing to do with us. That when we're taking it personally, there's some old openings in our armor.
Yeah. The opportunity is there. Question is going to take it.
That was a mic drop.
I've
Good job, Mr. Selby.
had some practice.
Yes. Well, because we get to practice on ourselves and our clients and out in
We
the
are,
world.
as I said earlier in the show, we are works in progress ourselves. We are learning as much as we're teaching. I mean, that's the thing, is we teach what we need to learn in a lot of ways, and we're not immune to this. And also, just to be transparent, we're not perfect at it either. So what we're teaching is stuff we're practicing ourselves. So please take what we're teaching here as things you can use yourself in your life, because frankly, your life will improve as well.
Yeah. We're so not up on some mountain preaching. We're like down there doing the same things as everybody else, which is what's so interesting. And you've experienced it too, where people go, oh my God, you're a dating coach. You must know everything. And I'm so intimidated to even talk to you. I'm like, no. I mean, yes, I might know more than you because I've lived it and I've studied it. And I just got my life coaching certificate. I'm very excited. I decided that I really needed to get up with Barry's education level. I'm working on it. I have a long ways to go.
I don't have a coaching certification because that's not my energy. Mine is more about guidance, and so I use my spiritual background. So
and your college. So I was very excited to do that. I said, I'm going to go do this because it was really fun. And, I knew a lot, but I got to learn more. That was really fun too.
That's awesome.
So the more we can feel good about ourselves and confident about ourselves out in the world, the less stuff will bother us. I mean, that's really the truth. That's really what you're saying, that we need to start taking better care of ourselves. And then we will stop taking so much of what happens in the world naturally because of other people's stuff. Personally, it is minute what's personal out there. Minute.
To quote Eleanor Roosevelt, what you think of me is none of my business. That's what it comes down to, in a lot of ways. I mean, if we stop taking things personally from those people around, especially those people who we don't really want to be friends with anyway, life gets so much better. And in an intimate relationship, that's an easier distance, but it's also a lot harder to do because of the intimacy. So the question then becomes like, can you be in a relationship without taking things personally? And that's the big ask for anybody in a relationship. It's one of lesson I'm learning still, and I'm sure you are too, is a lesson we keep learning because the thing is, in an intimate relationship, we feel like everything's personal. So the question then is, can you at least ask and clarify for things you think you're going to take personally, so when you realize it isn't personal, it's about their perception, their judgment, their stuff.
And I will use the word, because everybody I talk to uses the word about being brave. It is a very brave conversation because most people are very afraid. They're afraid to say their truth. They're really afraid to hear the other person's truth because what if they don't like it, and what if it hurts their feelings?
Oh, yeah.
It's really best to know where you stand, where you personally stand, say it out loud, where the other person stands. Nothing initially is set in stone. Just because you're having this conversation doesn't mean everything's going to hell. It just doesn't. It just means we finally put it out in the open and we can actually talk about it. Because what I find with a lot of the couples I talk to, it gets even better when they learn how to talk about what's really going on with them. I mean, that's the best news.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing, is that relationships can be so profound when we do take down the walls of all that defense, or that assumption, or that presumption about the other person in ourselves. Being visible is cool.
Visible is very cool. I highly recommend it. First to yourself, because you need to tell yourself the truth first, and then tell your truth to the other person. Oh,
there we go.
It would be a much better place.
It would indeed.
We're big advocates of that.
You may have noticed.
Personally and professionally, we're big advocates of telling your truth, figuring it out first, and then saying it out loud. So if you'd like to have that kind of a conversation with one of us,
nice bridge.
Thank you. It's so lovely when it works out that way, and I don't plan it. It just One of the ways to get a hold of me is to go to my website, which is www.theperfectcatch.com. And you can sign up for my newsletter. You can click on what's holding you back from love and have a complimentary conversation with me. And we can dig into what are some truths that you'd like to learn how to talk about in your life. And you can also reach me through Facebook and LinkedIn and Pinterest and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter.
There you go. Didn't have to create. It was like right about to.
I know, you're so good. You're right there always to fill in whatever one of the 6 I forgot. And you, Barry, how do people reach you?
Well, similar to Christine, I have a website and I have social media. So the best way to reach me is my website, which is barryselby.com. On the homepage, you can sign up for a mini session there and book one if you want. On the bottom of the homepage is a link to join my email list. My new program is still coming up soon. So if you want to join that, you go to barryselby.com/loveafter. That's available. On my website is all my courses and programs, everything else too. Social media wise, all my social media is my name, like my website is too. So Barry Selby on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Clubhouse, Pinterest, and on the other one, YouTube. Of course, YouTube. I've got tons of videos on YouTube, including our show. But Instagram is the real Barry Selby. It's the only switch. But you can come by me, check me out, and let's talk.
And every week you can see the two of us talking about an interesting subject about dating and relationships on Thursdays at 1 o'clock Western and 4 o'clock Eastern and all the times in between. Yep. We love when you watch us live. We're happy to have you watch us in recording. We send it out in our newsletters every week personally. You can see the replays. Please share them with your friends that might be having problems in their dating and relationships, and tell them to watch us too every week. We would be so happy to have you tell us what you would like us to talk about. If there's subjects that are burning that we haven't talked about, or we could dig into more, because it's always too short. We always have way more that we could talk about in our hour. So if you want to hear more about something, just let us know. We're ready, willing, and able.
Look forward to it. And thank you for being with us, and thank you for sharing it out. And thanks for checking out what we talk about.
Yes. And Barry's going to retire his woodpecker now. Yeah, I hope the roof is done by next week and we won't be hearing your.
It will be, definitely. Well, because it's raining tomorrow. They need to finish that roof today.
Oh, yeah.
That's why they're being so noisy. They're rushing through to get it done.
Oh, good. Which is why they couldn't take an hour break just for us.
Apparently not.
Okay. Bye for now.
See you next week. Bye.